Hi there, this is Tom Boda, and today I'll be giving a Pecha Kucha style presentation about traumatic brain injuries, based on Chapter 12 from our textbook, as well as various online resources that I'll have listed at the end of this presentation on slide 21. I hope you learn a little bit. Thank you. A traumatic brain injury, as defined by the Individuals with Disabilities Act, is an acquired injury to the brain caused by an external physical force that may result in total or partial functional disability or psychosocial impairment, or both. This may adversely affect a child's educational performance. The Individuals with Disabilities Act is also called IDEA. The term traumatic brain injury applies to head injuries resulting in impairments in one or more areas. These areas may be cognition, language, memory, attention, reasoning, abstract thinking, judgment, problem solving, sensory, perceptual, and motor abilities, psychosocial behavior, physical functions and information processing, and speech. Although TBI is not always visible and sometimes seemingly minor or inconsequential, it is a complex issue. The systems can display a wide variance depending on the severity of the injury, its extent, the age of the child at the time of the injury, and time passed since the injury. Impairments caused by brain injuries fall into three main categories. The first being physical and sensory changes such as lack of coordination and spasticity of muscles. The second is cognitive impairments, and the third is social, behavioral, and emotional problems such as mood swings, self-centeredness, or lack of motivation. The term TBI is not used for a person born with a brain injury, nor is it used for injuries of the brain that happen during birth. Traumatic brain injuries can happen to anyone at any age, but are most commonly associated with falls, traffic accidents, or sports-related injuries. It's important to know that as a child grows and develops, parents and teachers may notice new problems. This is because as students grow, they're expected to use their brain in new and in different ways. The damage to the brain from an earlier injury can make it hard for the student to learn new skills that come with getting older. The effects of TBI on learning and behavior are determined by the severity of the injury and the part of the brain that sustained damage. A mild brain injury results in a concussion, a brief loss of consciousness without any subsequent complications or damage. Even a mild concussion, however, is often followed by post-concussion syndrome, which can include temporary headaches, dizziness, and fatigue. Although each student presents a unique combination of physical, intellectual, and social characteristics, the following are frequently observed in those who are suffering from TBI. One is the slow acquisition of new skills, poor generalization and maintenance of these new skills, limited communication skills, impaired motor development, deficits in self-help skills, infrequent social interactions and constructive behavior, as well as challenging behavior. Even though TBI is very common, many medical and education professionals may not realize that some difficulties can be caused by a childhood brain injury. Students with TBI are thought to have a learning disability sometimes, or an emotional disturbance, or an intellectual disability. As a result, they may not receive the type of educational help and support they really need. The number of children receiving special education under the category of TBI is quite small. In 91 and 92, the first year that TBI was added to IDEA as a separate disability category, only 330 school-age children were actually enrolled in the program. As recently as 2013, the number has increased to 26,000. School systems are required to have special programs to help students with disabilities return to school. Most schools have special trained educators. However, not all special educators are familiar with the needs of students with brain injuries. On the other hand, not all students with TBI will require special programs. In terms of support for students with TBI, I'm going to use a direct quote here, that students require extensive, repeated, individualized instruction and support that is not of a temporary or transient nature, and use substantially adapted materials and individualized methods of accessing information in alternative ways to acquire, maintain, generalize, demonstrate, and transfer skills across multiple settings. My own experience with traumatic brain injuries has shown me that people that have them often have quite a positive outlook on life, as well as a persistent sort of attitude and determination to succeed, and often have a sense of humor, so we should look out for that and use that to our advantage as teachers. Grab your clipboards because it's important to obtain information about the student's pre-injury cognitive abilities from current and former teachers if you can, and from the student's rehabilitation professionals such as neuropsychologists, who are psychologists who specialize in brain function, as well as speech pathologists, occupational therapists, physical therapists, and social workers. Regarding integration into the classroom, there's a couple different ways. I'm going to list two of them on this slide. So first is the inclusion class. The student will be in a regular classroom. The second is a resource room where the students who need intensive help to keep up with grade level work in a particular subject may be placed in the resource room where a special education teacher works with a small group of students. The third is a self-contained class where the student is taught in a small controlled setting with a special ed teacher. Students in a self-contained class may be working at all different sorts of academic levels. The benefit to this type of class is structured routine and specialized instruction. The fourth is the out-of-district placement. This is least common. It's where the student is required to attend a specialized school specifically designed to address special learning or behavioral needs. Now for our classrooms, a helpful resource might be this book called Elvin, the Elephant Who Forgets. It's a children's book that explains traumatic brain injury through the story of this cute little elephant who unfortunately has a tree branch fall on his head. He experiences some issues like he forgets how to eat figs, he gets angry at his friends and he doesn't know why, and he's having a hard time in school. This helps children learn about how a brain injury can affect learning, emotions, behavior, and relationships in school and at home. It shows the difference between physical, visible, cognitive, or invisible disabilities and special needs, and how you can access help at school and or at home. It is published by Lash and Associates Publishing here. Their aim is for practical information based on best practices and research, as well as user-friendly style without too much jargon and formats for multiple audiences. So they have books for parents and for kids, for teachers. I really recommend you check them out here on this website. That's lapublishing.com. So my name's Tom Boda. Thanks a lot for listening to my Pecha Kucha conversation, and I assume you watched it as well, so I thank you for that as well. I hope you have a great day. Thanks again. I hope you learned something. You can always send me an email with any comments you have. Have a great day.